Hey guys, it's Ohmwrecker, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the demo version of XCOM Enemy Unknown by Firaxis Games and published by 2K. You can find this demo for yourself right now on Steam. All you got to do is go to the XCOM Enemy Unknown store page, and you'll see a download link for the demo on the right side. You can play it a little bit for yourself. There's very limited content, but it's enough to get kind of a vibe of what they're going for with this version of the game. Believe it or not, it is the first tactical strategy game in the series to come out since 1997, at least on a full scale. There was a kind of a strange email games version that came out in '99, but honestly, I don't think many fans consider that like a true version of the game. But the last time that it was actually a turn-based combat game was 1997. After 97, there were still XCOM games, but they were completely out of place. Like with XCOM Interceptor, which was made by Microprose, it was kind of like a space game, almost like a space sim with some research to it and some other elements that made it a tiny bit unique, but it just did not feel right. I remember buying it on day one and thinking to myself, like, what the hell is this? It was not a proper fit at all. And, this is kind of like during the rise of 3D games, and it just, at the time, I just could not believe that they didn't make a 3D version of XCOM. Then there was XCOM Enforcer, and that one was a FPS, and it was just absolute garbage. So since then, there have not been any XCOM games. It wasn't until 2K announced that they were making a new XCOM title that fans were starting to get excited again, thinking, oh hey, we're going to get another XCOM game, only to find out that it was a FPS game. And that didn't sit too well with a lot of the old fans. There were, I remember, petitions, there were masses of forum posts, people essentially just trying to tell 2K that, like, we want a old school tactical combat game, not, any sort of FPS garbage. We don't want a, another version of Syndicate like EA did, where it's just totally unrelated to what the core game was about. Well, eventually, 2K came out and revealed that Firaxis Games, the guys known for the Civilization franchise, were working on a new XCOM game, XCOM Enemy Unknown, which is honestly a nod to the original game, which was called multiple different names. Back in '94, it went from everything from UFO Enemy Unknown to XCOM UFO Defense to XCOM Enemy Unknown. It really depended on what territory you were buying the game in and what platform. Okay, so let's talk about the new game now. XCOM Enemy Unknown by Firaxis is running an all-new engine. You're going to see updated visuals, obviously much, much more modern than anything that we've seen in any of the games since, especially the originals, which were made literally in the 90s before 3D graphics cards really had any sort of impact on the scene, especially when it came to strategy games. Well, we're in a all-new world here, as you guys know. And things have changed drastically since the 90s. I'm sure Firaxis wasn't able to tap into all that much when it came to art assets, maybe some concept art, or just referencing some of the old alien types and whatnot. But for this game, they had to go and create all new assets, create modernized versions of the aliens and the battle armor and the weapons and everything else. And also create cinematics and UI and just pretty much everything that comes with developing a modern game. Now, with that whole updating type process, they also, I'm sure, had to go and look at that old design document for the original games and essentially determine how are they going to make this a modern experience. What was wrong with the original and what it was right, what needs to be there and what doesn't. Well, I can tell you that Firaxis did take some liberties in changing the design a bit. So that brings up the ultimate question. Are fans going to be okay with some of the liberties that Firaxis took with the design? And this involves things such as not being able to go prone or not being able to sit. The cover system now is completely different, where you've got either half cover or full cover. You can take pot shots off at people and not have to worry about running out of ammo. I've heard a number of different complaints from some fans already that really just aren't sure if this is really going to be the game for them because they wanted a true XCOM experience, and there's things that have changed. So the truth is, I can only talk about my experiences and how I feel about the game. And it could very well differ from your experience with the demo or what you think of the retail game. So take what I'm about to say with, a grain of salt. It might not reflect your opinions. It might not reflect your expectations. But in my experience, I did like the demo that I played. I thought that there was a number of elements that just felt good. I never at any point felt like I needed to go prone, or I needed to make sure I tell my character that he needs to absolutely sit at this position. The cover was typically my main focus, making sure that I didn't get popped by Overwatch. And if you're not familiar with Overwatch, what it is that you set up your unit to reserve his points for if a enemy comes along and runs across his field of view. So you got to keep that in mind as you're exploring the levels and you're pushing your characters ahead. But overall, I mean, I was, I guess, viewing this as just a completely new game, instead of literally nitpicking it to death, saying that this needs to absolutely be like the old XCOM games. Because I'll tell you what, I've never heard Firaxis say that this is literally going to be a clone of XCOM. So really, when I played the demo, and like many of you probably will or have already, I looked at it almost like it was a completely new experience. And I didn't go back and play the originals beforehand. Maybe I should have, so I could have at least compared it instead of just going off of my memories. But I honestly felt like it was a very streamlined tactical action game. And it still had the whole alien invasion thing going on. There's still permadeath. Your characters can die very easily. And once they're gone, unless you want to start abusing like a save and load system. There's injuries. Your best soldiers can get incapacitated for many days, and that can cost you a lot. I mean, it's pretty apparent in the demo that time doesn't exactly move all that fast, and things are happening quite quickly. So to lose a soldier for 12 days because they're badly injured, I mean, that hurts, especially if they're an upgraded soldier. And there are a number of ways to obviously die. I mean, you can die from hazards, cars blowing up. You can have your characters mind controlled and used against you. Or if you can't kill that guy mind controlling him, then you might have to kill your own soldier. And then there's just raw combat. The aliens can use weapons against you. They can, shoot their guns. They can lob grenades. They can poison you. I mean, I saw the Thin Man at the end of the demo, and he was able to initiate a poison attack on one of my guys that ended up killing him. So there are certainly very hardcore elements about this game that console gamers might even find excessively difficult to deal with. But on the PC end, this is what gamers wanted. And that's not even taking into account the stuff like base building and research and doing interceptions on top of having to manage all this standard tactical combat. I mean, there's still plenty of depth to XCOM, even though it's been updated and streamlined. So, for some of the most hardcore fans, which I would call myself one, I have been a XCOM buyers literally since the original. I remember buying it at frickin' Egghead Software back in the day. And, I mean, I did enjoy my time with the demo. And I have no issue with saying that. I definitely want to see what's to come. I mean, the two missions, it didn't feel like they were enough for me, but I had fun playing them. And it was just a good experience. I didn't mind even like the little events that happened after you bust in a window or kick in the door. Or even when you first spot an alien and it pulls the camera out. I was completely fine with it. But really, that's just me. Again, I can't speak for all the fans. This is going to have to be something that fans evaluate for themselves, which, I mean, we do have a demo here. A demo weeks prior to launch. So my suggestion would be that you check this thing out. Even though you've seen a large chunk of the demo just watching this video, give it a shot for yourself, and especially get to that second mission where you can actually start leading the combat. I mean, because really what you're seeing here is more of the tutorial, and I obviously don't want to ruin the entire demo. I don't want to play all the way through so you guys don't even have to try it for yourselves. This is definitely something that you do want to try, especially if you're into strategy, because then you'll be able to figure out on your own if this is a game for you. And if you don't like it, don't buy it. I mean, it's really simple as that. But I'll tell you that Firaxis, I mean, typically they have a very good track record for making quality products. And in my opinion, I mean, this is already showing that this is not much different. Sure, you're going to see some bugs. I mean, this is a demo. Obviously, the code split probably happened weeks ago. And there's probably going to be things in the demo that will be fixed later. I know I already saw one thread on issue with the camera. If you pull back too far, you start seeing issues with different textures and whatnot. So that's bound to happen in a demo. Is it something that could be fixed? Definitely. And I would honestly be surprised if this game shipped with that specific issue in it. But overall, it was very stable for me, and I had fun. And that's how I decide what games I like. If I have fun, if I want to come back to them, play them again, if I want to get my friends into them so I could play multiplayer with them or whatever else, I mean, that's my thing. And the demo did a pretty good job of selling me on that this is a game I definitely want to check out at launch, at retail. And, I mean, really, I can't see myself passing on looking at this game on day one and trying to get through it. There are some things, though, that do concern me a little bit, is how much random generation is going to be in this game, because the missions that are shown are very scripted. And I guess you could kind of expect that with a demo. They don't want to, you know, give you like a complete sandbox to play around in this type of game. They don't want you to have access to all the weapons or all the character types, but it's still not shown. It's not answered if, you know, it's going to be possible to play through this game several times and have a completely different experience each time. There's also not much known about the end game. How much you know, gameplay can you expect from it before you end up beating the game? Is it something you can rush through in a few hours? Is it something that's probably going to take you a couple days to complete a whole campaign? That's really not known right now, and it's definitely not shared in the demo. So all I got to go on is this, and it's enough for me to want to see or want to find the answers to my questions. So again, guys, check out this demo for yourself. It's on Steam right now. I don't know if it's coming to the consoles. I don't know if Xbox Live has it or PS3, but right now it's on Steam. It's right there on the Game Hub, and you can check it out for yourself. See what you think about the tactical gameplay. You can see how research works very briefly, and you can even go score some scientists or get some gold out of it. Or not gold, jeez, I'm playing too many other games. Get some money out of it where you can increase you know, your cash flow and whatever else. You also get to take a peek at the core base system, where you select where your base is going to be and what sort of bonuses you get out of that. But that nearly brings this video to a close, guys. I will revisit XCOM Enemy Unknown once I get some time in with the full game, and I'll let you guys know what I think about the final experience. I'll definitely be checking it out to see how much replayability there is beyond multiplayer, and of course be checking to see how multiplayer is, because they haven't shown a whole lot of it. I mean, there have been some press demos and whatnot, but it's not enough to really see like how the, you know, community is going to build around it, or if it's going to really last. I mean, we see a lot of multiplayer types just kind of fade away not too long after a game launches. So I'll definitely check those things out, and I also do have a copy of Xenonauts, which is another XCOM style game, which I'll be checking out, and, you know, maybe even do some sort of comparison video between the two down the road. So again, that's it, guys. Make sure you check out this demo. I'm going to leave the link in the description. And, of course, be sure to like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. And tell your friends about my channel. I always appreciate when you guys do that. Share some of my videos with them, too. More videos to come, and I'll see you guys next time. It's the Men in Black. They'd like to jump out the window.